igniting that trail of fire. Also, video from the other passenger scare here in the U.S. The jet going off the runway into the water, the passengers, many of whom climbed out onto the wing to survive. Why did the pilot switch runways at the last minute? The crush of cameras here in New York City today as President Trump's former fixer Michael Cohen leaves his apartment and heads to federal prison. His vow before the cameras. Tonight, the U.S. deploying a carrier strike group. They say it is a show of force against Iran after what the U.S. says are threats against U.S. forces in the region. What kind of threats? Martha Raddatz is standing by. The 24-year veteran officer shot and killed right outside his police department. A husband and father, the suspect, on surveillance. And now the urgent manhunt underway tonight. This evening, a member of our own family, Dr. Jen Ashton, sharing a very personal story about suicide, her husband, and the father of their two children. Her message to so many others tonight. The new and alarming headline about the measles this evening here in the U.S. And it's a boy, Prince Harry, before the cameras today. What he said, what he revealed. Our Amy Robach standing by in London.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us to start another week here. And we begin tonight with those new images now emerging, the horror inside that passenger cabin, stunning images of that devastating emergency landing. A passenger jet turning into a fireball at the international airport in Moscow. Inside that plane, the horrifying sight of the fire just outside the window. Many passengers escaping down the chutes, but at least 41 people did not get out, including two children. One of the victims is an American. And we are learning more tonight about the heroic efforts of the flight crew. One flight attendant losing his life, but saving others after opening the door in the back of the plane to help passengers out. ABC's Dan Harris is on the scene tonight in Moscow.
Tonight, the final moments of terror inside that Russian jet as 78 passengers and crew scrambled to escape the flames. You can hear the panicked screams as they look out their windows in horror. This video now another clue for investigators trying to answer what went wrong. The jet appearing to bounce 3 times as it skidded to a stop. That massive fireball erupting upon final impact.
Under normal circumstances, the fire truck should follow that emergency aircraft down the runway and be ready to put out any fire. It was a long time before we saw any fire trucks come on.
The Sukhoi Superjet, operated by the Russian airline Aeroflot, was headed from Moscow to Murmansk. It had just returned to the airport after the pilot reported an emergency on board, some reports suggesting it was a lightning strike. After the crash, hero flight attendants scrambled to get the passengers out, one losing his life reportedly while trying to open a door for those trapped in the back of the plane. This flight attendant was said to have pushed passengers out to emergency slides. While the heroes are being celebrated tonight here in Russia, some passengers are being criticized after they were seen carrying their luggage as they fled.
It's a real question. Did people slowing down to get their luggage delay the exit of people in the back and lead to deaths in this mishap?
41 people killed, including 1 crew member, 1 child, and American Jeremy Brooks from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and was taking a job as a fishing guide in Russia.
He was more excited than ever before. He was doing what he loved.
Tonight, we're seeing the first images inside that charred cabin. Investigators recovering both flight recorders and sifting through the ashes for clues.
So let's get to Dan Harris. He's on the scene in Moscow tonight for us. And Dan, we know investigators are looking at 3 things: pilot error, weather problems, any sort of technical malfunction. And you've learned that this plane had a troubled history?
That's right. It's called a Superjet, a Sukhoi Superjet 100, commonly used here in Russia, not used at all in the U.S. or Europe. That's because it has, as you said, a history of safety problems. In fact, in 2012, one of these planes flew into the side of a mountain in Indonesia, and everybody on board perished.
Those are just devastating images from Moscow. Dan Harris leading us off on a Monday night. Thank you, Dan. And to the other scare tonight, this one back here in the U.S. The passenger jet off a runway in Florida right into the water. Much of the plane submerged in the river. And tonight, the new video here of passengers escaping onto the wing of the plane right in the middle of a storm. And this question now, why did the pilot switch runways at the last minute? ABC's Victor Akenda was on the scene in Jacksonville.
Tonight, we're learning more about what led to these harrowing moments on the wing of that jetliner.
It was the loudest bang I've ever heard in my life.
Baby coming through, baby coming through.
Darwin Silva shot the video after he opened the emergency door.
We got the women and children first onto the raft, and then the firefighter pulled the raft to shore.
The Defense Department chartered the Boeing 737 coming from Guantanamo Bay. It slid off the Naval Air Station runway in Jacksonville Friday night and into the water.
Just talked to Navy Jack Tower. He said both runways look pretty bad.
There were storms in the area, and the NTSB is investigating why the pilots changed runways, switching their landing direction at the last minute. That change in direction put the wind at their backs, the plane landing at a higher speed than if it was landing into the wind at more than 200 miles an hour.
Only the pilots make the final decision about which runway to use, but one of the key questions is what did they know? What information did they have that led them to accept a tailwind runway?
The cockpit voice recorder is a critical piece of evidence. It's located in the tail of the plane, still submerged tonight. They can't get to it until all the fuel is removed from the plane. Contractors have been working on that all day. Then the plane can be removed from the water safely. David?
We can, of course, see that plane there behind you. Victor Akenda with us again tonight. Thank you, Victor. And next this Monday night, the chaotic scene right here in New York City today. The crush of cameras as President Trump's former lawyer and fixer Michael Cohen left his apartment and then headed to federal prison. He emerged from his Park Avenue apartment building and then right into that chaotic scene, getting into his car for that ride to prison. But he delivered a vow right before he got into that car. And here's ABC's chief national affairs correspondent, Tom Llamas, tonight.
Tonight, Michael Cohen is looking through a much different set of bars, emerging from the gold-gilded doors at his Trump Park Avenue apartment building and taking one last shot at the president.
I hope that when I rejoin my family and friends, that the country will be in a place without xenophobia, injustice, and lies at the helm of our country.
Michael, anyone in your family? Pushing through a crush of cameras.
Where's your mind right now?
Michael, should people feel sorry for you? Cohen stayed silent, even as a photographer stuck his lens into his waiting SUV.
Get the out of the car!
Over the weekend, he was all smiles, stopping for handshakes, posing for photos. But tonight, Cohen is an inmate at New York's Otisville Federal Correctional Institution, where he'll spend the next 3 years. That's 1,095 days in the minimum security prison housing other notorious celebrities like Mike the Situation Sorrentino from the Jersey Shore TV show and the Fyre Festival creator Billy McFarland. Cohen has pleaded guilty to a number of crimes, including arranging illegal hush money payments to women who claim to have had affairs with Donald Trump. The president denied it all, but Cohen insists he was just following the boss's orders.
There still remains much to be told, and I look forward to the day that I can share the truth.
All right, Tom Llamas with us live here in New York tonight. And Tom, Michael Cohen spent hours, as we know, cooperating with the special counsel Robert Mueller. Cohen then spent hours testifying on the Hill in front of the American people. Now Congress wants to hear from Robert Mueller himself on the Hill, but President Trump tonight has changed his mind about this?
That's right, David. At first, President Trump said the decision would be up to Attorney General William Barr, but then the president tweeted this: Bob Mueller should not testify, no redo for the Dems. Now, Barr told Congress he had no problem with Mueller testifying, and tonight a source familiar with the Attorney General's thinking tells ABC News he has not changed his mind. David?
All right, Tom Llamas, great to have you. Next tonight to what the U.S. calls a show of force against Iran, rushing the USS Lincoln Carrier Strike Group and Air Force bombers to the Middle East tonight. It comes after what the White House is calling, quote, troubling warnings that Iran or its allies were preparing for a possible attack on U.S. forces. Here's Martha Raddatz.
At this hour, more than 6,000 Navy personnel are steaming towards the Mideast. The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group bristling with firepower. An American bomber task force also deployed. It was U.S. Central Command responsible for the region, which urgently requested the additional forces. A U.S. official saying intelligence indicated possible attacks being planned by Iran or its proxy forces, possibly in Iraq or Syria, or U.S. ships at sea.
We're taking all the appropriate actions, both from a security perspective and well as our ability to make sure that the president has a wide range of options.
The State Department recently designated Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps a terrorist organization. Iran responded by labeling CENTCOM a terrorist military organization as well.
Martha Raddatz with us live tonight. And Martha, officials say they have clear indications that Iran was preparing for a possible attack, as I mentioned, on U.S. forces in the region. Do we know anything more tonight about these threats?
David, there have been no specifics, but this show of force certainly sends a strong warning to Iran that if they do attack, they will face what the White House is calling an unrelenting response. David.
Martha Raddatz with us here as well. Thank you, Martha. And now to the global headline tonight that was decidedly more upbeat. In fact, a lot of cheer after news broke today of the royal baby. Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan welcoming a baby boy and breaking tradition, handling the announcement, the reveal, in their own way. Announcing the news in an Instagram post first, and then Prince Harry coming outside their home to talk to reporters. He could not contain his excitement, and then revealing when the world will see the baby. Our Amy Robach at Windsor Castle tonight.
A beaming Prince Harry sharing his happy news with the world.
I'm very excited to announce that Meghan and myself had a baby boy.
Harry was there by Meghan's side.
I'm so incredibly proud of my wife, and as every father and parent would ever say, you know, your baby is absolutely amazing, but this little thing is absolutely to die for. So I'm just over the moon.
Royal well-wishers celebrating on the streets of Windsor, popping champagne. The traditional easel outside Buckingham Palace announcing the first biracial royal baby, 7th in line to the throne. But the Sussexes choosing to spend a few private days at home, Meghan's mother Doria there with them. No same-day photo ops like we've seen with his royal cousins, and newborn Prince Harry himself in the arms of his late mother, Diana. Harry clearly thrilled to be a dad, something he laughed about back when he and Meghan got engaged.
Children?
Not currently, no. No, of course, you know, I think, you know, one step at a time.
Yes, we all remember that interview, but how quickly things change. Harry, ever the loving father there today. Amy, he couldn't contain his excitement. Amy Robach's been on Baby Watch for what seems like weeks now. I love how they test a tradition there today, Amy, doing it on their terms. So when will the world see the royal baby?
Well, David, we heard from Prince Harry, and he said that he and Duchess Meghan will introduce their son to the world in 2 days' time. So that would mean that we'll all get to finally meet baby boy Sussex by Wednesday, David.
All right, Amy Robach on the watch. Amy, thank you. Back here at home tonight, and to growing measles, the scare, the CDC out with new numbers tonight. 764 confirmed cases this year, 60 more than a week ago. Cases now seen in 23 states. Pennsylvania has now been added to the list. We're going to turn next year tonight to a member of our own family, sharing a very personal story about suicide and about loss. Dr. Jen Ashton, our chief medical correspondent, and her 2 children suffering unexpected heartbreak. And their message tonight to other families in this country: you are not alone.
At about 10:30 in the morning, 3 detectives knocked on the door and showed their badges and came in and asked me to sit down. And the lead detective said, we found your name on the remains of your husband. And at the word remains, I collapsed onto the floor and I just started screaming, no, no, no. I just couldn't believe it.
Dr. Jennifer Ashton and her husband Rob, also a doctor. They met while studying medicine at Columbia. They married the following year and had 2 beautiful children, Alex and Chloe. Both Jen and her husband successful doctors, and both deeply devoted parents.
Through the prairies, to the ocean.
There were the trips as a family, the skating lessons, and the hockey games that would follow.
Yeah!
That's Chloe, number 8, scoring a goal.
Rob was the quintessential hockey dad. He would tie her skates before games.
Their children came first, and over the years they would acknowledge they needed to work on their marriage. They sought counseling, but still, after 2 decades together, they had grown apart. And Jen, to this day, says any overt warning signs were not there.
Rob didn't have any of the classic signs of depression that we learn about in medical school, not a single one of them.
Rob would take his own life, his family crushed with the heartache that would follow. They sought therapy, and as a family they have moved forward together, helping each other. Chloe on something her brother said to her.
It wasn't until 2 weeks later that my brother actually said something